Hi, so here we are for the end of the Iliad, especially book 22 and 24. So let's approach to book 22. In book 19, Agamemnon and Achilles reconcile with each other. And Agamemnon gives Achilles the gifts that he promised him. Do you remember? Should Achilles ever return to battle? He also returns Briseis. Achilles announces his intention to go to war at once, and he sits mourning his dear friend Patroclus. Achilles knows his fate already and knows that by entering battle for his friend, he seals his destiny. So a great commotion now breaks out among the gods as they watch and argue over the human warfare. Priam sees the human carnage on the battlefield and opens the gates of Troy to his fleeing troops. Achilles pursues them and very nearly takes the city. Here we are in book 22. Hector now stands as the only Trojan left outside Troy. Priam, overlooking the battlefield from the Trojan ramparts, as always, begs him to come inside. When Achilles returns, Hector confronts him. At first, the mighty Trojan considers trying to negotiate with Achilles, but he soon realizes the hopelessness of his cause and flees. He runs around the city 3 times, with Achilles at his heels, and Zeus considers saving Hector. But Athena persuades him that the mortal's time has come. Zeus places Hector's and Achilles' respective fates on a golden scale, and indeed Hector sinks to the ground. During Hector's 4th circle around the city walls, Athena appears before him, disguised as his ally Deiphobus, and convinces him that together they can take Achilles. Hector stops running and turns to face his opponent. He and Achilles exchange spear throws, but neither scores a hit. Hector turns to Deiphobus to ask him for a lance. When he finds his friend gone, he realizes that the gods have betrayed him. In a desperate bid of glory, he charges Achilles, and he still wears Achilles' old armor, stolen from Patroclus' dead body, and Achilles knows the armor's weak points. So, with a perfectly timed thrust, he puts his spear through Hector's throat. Near death, Hector pleads with Achilles to return his body to the Trojans for burial, but Achilles resolves to let the dogs and scavenger birds mold the Trojan hero. Achilles ties Hector's body to the back of his chariot and drags it through the dirt. Meanwhile, up above on the city walls, King Priam and Queen Hecuba witness the devastation of their son body and wail with grief. Andromache hears them from her chamber and runs outside. When he sees her husband's corpse being dragged through the dirt, she too collapses and weeps. Then to approach to book 24th, we see in book 23rd when take place the funeral of Patroclus and the games in his honor. Book 24 is about to encounter in between Priam and Achilles. So here we are in book 24. These are the lines. Remember your own father, great good like Achilles. As old as I am, past the threshold of deadly old age. No doubt the countrymen round about him plague him now, with no one there to defend him, beat away disaster. No one, but at least he hears you are still alive, and his whole earth rejoices, hopes rising day by day to see his beloved son come sailing home from Troy. With these words, spoken in the middle of book 24, Priam implores Achilles to return Hector's corpse for proper burial. He makes himself sympathetic in Achilles' eyes by drawing a parallel between himself and Achilles' father Peleus. Priam imagines Peleus surrounded by enemies, with no one to protect him, a predicament that immediately mirrors his own, as a supplicant standing in the middle of the enemy camp. Moreover, the two fathers' situations resemble each other, on a broader scale as well. Hector was the bulwark for Priam's Troy, just as Achilles was the bulwark for his father's kingdom back in Phthia. And with the two sons gone, Priam's enemies, the Achaeans, will now close in on him, just as those of Peleus will. So Priam claims that the parallel fails in only one respect. Peleus can at least hope that his son will come home one day, persuaded Zeus that Achilles must let Hector's body be ransomed. Zeus sent Thetis to bring the news to Achilles, while Ares goes to Priam to instruct him to initiate the ransom. Hecuba fears that Achilles will kill her husband, but Zeus reassures her by sending an eagle as a good omen. So now Priam sets out with his driver Idaeus and a chariot full of treasure. Zeus sent Hermes, disguised as a benevolent Myrmidon soldier, to guide Priam through the Achaean camp. When the chariot arrives at Achilles' tent, Hermes reveals himself and then leaves Priam alone with Achilles. Priam tearfully supplicates Achilles, begging for Hector's body. He asks Achilles to think of his own father, Peleus, and the love between them. Achilles weeps for his father and for Patroclus. He accepts the ransom and agrees to give the corpse back. That night, Priam sleeps in Achilles' tent, but Hermes comes to him in the middle of the night and rouses him, warning him that he must not sleep among the enemy. Priam and Idaeus wake, place Hector in their chariot, and slip out of the camp unnoticed. All of the women in Troy, from Andromache to Helen, cry out in grief when they first see Hector's body. For 9 days the Trojans prepare Hector's funeral pyre. Achilles has given them a reprieve from battle. The Trojans light Hector's pyre on the 10th day. Ultimately, this function for the reader much as they do for the characters as a diversion from grief. So let's see the theme of pity in the Iliad that's based on the central character Achilles. His movement, as we said at the beginning, from rage to grief and wrath, and finally the recognition, is the art of the Iliad. So in essence, the wrath of Achilles allows the poet to present and develop, within the cultural framework of heroic honor, the ideas of strife, alienation, and reconciliation. So finally, the assuaging of Achilles' wrath leads to the reconciliation and reintegration of the warrior, first into his own community, and second, into the larger community of all humanity. So reconciliation ends the wrath of Achilles and makes him more than a warrior hero. He tends to represent passion and emotion. So, do you remember, Achilles' second wave of anger is over the death of Patroclus, his beloved friend, and ends when Achilles returns Hector's body to Priam. So now we have the lines from 630 to 634 in book 24 of the Iliad, the last book. So the last phrase is a new view of the war. Achilles sees it now from Priam's point of view and moves soon from pity from his own father to pity from the king of Troy. So this is the big change that Homer wanted to present us at the end of the Iliad. So, okay, now we have presented the heroic code, the nature of the hero, what Homer wanted to present generally as an heroic code, but what more subtly he wanted to show us as a move, growing, a change in a rage in the main of the unstoppable heroes of the war, that is Achilles. Okay, so see you soon, guys. Bye.